Hello and welcome back to another time-lapse video. Today I want to take you through the process of this Beauty and the Beast piece that I made for the Sinister Serenades. Sinister Serenades is a series of work that I plan to create. I'm about halfway there right now. And this whole series idea is something that came up to me earlier this year when I was asked to provide an art exposition with a series of work. And this is kind of an interesting thing that happened in my mind. Like something clicked together. Until, let's say, February this year, I mainly worked with just individual pieces. I would just go where my brain wanted me to go. One day I would make it be giant frog prints, and the other day I would draw a little mouse. The other day I would go for biker mice from Mars. I would go wherever I wanted to go. But when these people contacted me for this art exposition, I actually had to create multiple pieces that fit together, even though they were all individual pieces. And I've been working with that process of, basically telling a story throughout multiple pieces of art. And I must say, I kind of like that. I actually really, really like that. The Age of Mice series was the first one where I did that. And so now the Sinister Serenades is the second time where I am telling a story through different pieces of art. So the Beauty and the Beast, the one that you're looking at right now, is actually the second one in the series. Which is based on dark fairy tales. Now I gotta actually think which one was the first one in the series. Oh, I think it was Brother and Sister. The video is actually already online on the channel. Brother and Sister is this story where a brother and a sister get thrown out of the house by their evil stepmom, and the boy drinks from the water, turns into a stag, and the girl kind of tries to take care of the stag while being hunted by the king and everything. It's really one of my favorite stories. And then after that, actually comes Beauty and the Beast. I'm a big softie. I mean, I have no shame in admitting that. Beauty and the Beast really is one of my favorite fairy tales. And so I figured, what is cooler to do than, as an artist, give your own interpretation of that story. So in this version of Beauty and the Beast, you'll find that I am here creating something that looks a bit more like an ogre than the thing that we all know from the Disney movies. It is really like a forest creature. He's got these big horns, he's got these glowing eyes, but he's got forest all over him. Which ties in nicely to the techniques that I'm using, because most people, some of you have been around for a while, know me to be an artist who works on one layer with one brush. And as you can see, that really is no longer the case. This was, I think, the first time where I really started exploring different textures through different brushes. Of course, my base layer was still done with just a normal, your random MS Paint kind of brush. Of course, then there's the blending, which is kind of what I'm famous for right now. And after that, you'll see me pull up a gazillion of different brushes, all kinds with nature textures, foliage, leaves, everything. And it was quite the adventure, because I'm not used to working with so many different things. Like in the past, I would draw out all these individual leaves, and I would really just have brush size 2 or 3, and I would just create all these different glints and light reflections. I would do it all by hand. And I kind of spoiled myself with this one, because after this one I realized life is so much easier when you have the right brushes. So I was really happy with all the different textures, at least, that come together in this massive beast that is on this illustration. And one of the cooler things is, because those textures were so abundant, were so present, the contrast between that beast and this beauty that you see that I'm working on right now was even bigger, because everything about this, well, spoilers ahead, but this is a witch, it's not necessarily beauty. I mean, she's pretty, but she's a witch. Everything about her is super smooth. She's got this smooth skin, she's got this smooth shading going on. This is really the style that, you know, you normally see me working with. It is all very smooth in texture. There is a lot of layers and there is a lot of different color nuances. I talked about that before in one of my other videos, where I work with one base color, and then from that base color I pull up 3 or 4 highlights and then 3 or 4 lowlights. So every color, every individual color basically has a range of, you know, anywhere between 5 and 8 or 9 shades. So what you see here is really like typically my work. One of the difficult things on, you know, working on this lady was that, you know, she is only a very small part in this kind of big illustration. So you see the resolution blowing up to like pixels. She was very tiny to work with, and so you know, when I see this up close, I'm like, is this really what we're looking for? But then later on, you see me zoom out and you see it's really not so bad. But it's always kind of tricky because this really plays into your mind when you are working, because you're looking at something basically out of context. So how do you keep yourself, you know, within the concept that you're working with? How do you keep yourself from going back in, back out, back in, back out? Just to sort of correct things that you think are there but are not necessarily there when you look at the picture as a whole. So working on this lady was a bit of a challenge because she was very tiny. But I think if you look at the complexity of things, ultimately you'll see that the beast will still be the most important part of this illustration, which is exactly the idea. I mean, obviously the woman is going to be there and she will have a role to play in this story. But I kind of try to create everything so that, you know, maybe she is the first thing you see, but everything else from her sort of radiates outwards towards the beast, towards the ogre and the forest, on him and behind him. So that was interesting. But it's nice to see how everything just came together with this one, working with different textures. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Don't forget to leave a like and comment down below.